this came about as a result of government of Uganda signing a concession agreement with a consortium called, headed by BIDCO, to develop this island into oil palm plantation. So when they did that, in that agreement, while the private company was obliged to bring in its funding and invest here in the oil palm plantation, the government also had certain responsibilities. And the government's responsibility was to develop the infrastructure backbone required to sustain this huge investment coming into the oil palm. So the government had the responsibility to put in the road infrastructure. The ferry that was there was very unreliable, so the government was supposed to improve that. There was no power on the island. The government needed to provide power, and there was no potable water, no safe water at all. And the government undertook to provide that. One of the first lessons that you learn from this kind of project is that it is able to bring rapid development. You know, with the private sector, they are able to do a lot of things at the same time. So what the government did is they went out to look for private companies that would invest in the infrastructure. Not only that, they went to look for a private company that has the technical know-how to develop the infrastructure components. And so they spoke with InfraCo out of UK, and InfraCo was interested in developing such an infrastructure on the island.
We were interested in developing the project because after the local community approached our shareholder, the Pidge, we realised this could be a truly innovative and exciting project for us to develop, being multidisciplinary across power, water, ferry and a road, all combined into one project that would allow InfraCo to really use its full resources, both deploying capital on the ground and at the same time using our principal developer team to engage with the local community, the local government and also the national government to negotiate the revenue contracts and the finance agreements that were needed to turn this concept into a reality. So using Electra, we knew this was going to be a highly challenging project, but we knew in the end we would be successful.
I'll give you an example with respect to the water. Originally, we were asked to do a willingness to pay study. Instead, what we chose to do was to actually build an innovative pilot project which would deliver water to the local population and to determine whether they were willing to pay for water or not. And we found this young water engineer to actually design and build the project. And that's what we do with KIS, is find innovative solutions to these problems.
It sounded too good to be true. It had never been done anywhere. So who was this company trying to do something almost unheard of in this area? So people didn't trust. The biggest turning point was when we started setting up the pilot water supply system. While we were developing the project, we wanted to test the technology, whether it would work. And so we set up the water supply system at Kasekulu, and then we set up another water supply system at Mulavana. While we were still talking about the project, some people were already realizing the benefit. So a section of the community simply said, it seems these guys are telling the truth because they are putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the population that to whom we were trying to demonstrate that this was going to happen. It was also to our investors. We needed to develop a bankable project and a viable project for them to actually put their money. So yeah, it's true, we developed all these innovative structuring in connection with the financing. So we blended commercial money with grant money. We brought in development finance institutions in the equity of the project. But at the end of the day, those are just tools. Those are just means to an end. And ultimately, the reasons these projects succeed is when they're developed with one objective in mind, which is actually developing and delivering the infrastructure services to the population that it's supposed to benefit.
Community acceptance is very important. It is very important when you are developing such a project to have as much local content as possible. Local content means people must see that it's the people they know who are actually promoting this, who are actually getting things done. Because if you get someone from outside the country, you get someone from Europe, he comes here and says, you know, I'm going to do ABCD, I'm going to partner with the government. Some of the government officials are straight away going to be freaked out. They are going to say, well, this guy is going to partner with us. But if anything goes wrong, he's on the next plane out. But this gentleman, who is a local content, I know him. If anything goes wrong, I know where to get him. So that gives the government some kind of confidence to deal with you. But again, you can't do it 100% on local content because you have limitations of technical skill and experience. So you need a very good mix. In the next 10 years, I see really this island being the focal point. And not only that, because of the success of this development, I think the government would like to copy what KIS has done and replicate it in other parts of Uganda, because this is probably the most successful way in developing some of these rural areas in Uganda.